That's a big glass of water.
For a big man.
I'm a big glass of guy.
Also, no one can see it because it's behind
Come
the
on, Ali.
screen.
Show everyone the water.
Show it. Show
The
it.
water.
And for our audio listeners, splash it. Yeah.
Fresh. Anyway, good start. You haven't got your own handheld this time. You're part of the podcast.
I am part of the podcast.
How do you
Ali
feel?
does need to grab the mic every time WEC is mentioned.
You see my
There we-
eyes light up.
You'll just see him lean closer to the mic.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone took a whack.
So, episode 2. How we all feel. We're not actually at a...
A racetrack. Well,
Yeah.
there might be some beeps because we are in London.
Yeah.
Not
some
as
sort of
loud as that.
taxis.
There's no Aston Martin race planned in Farringdon today, I don't think.
I don't know.
I
We
don't
get
think
we
so.
get a couple of
Knowing
supercars.
our luck, we will get like a serious brawl outside. And
Yeah.
It'll just be chaos.
Loads of 50cc mopeds going past.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
standard,
get a lot of those.
standard
So-
London.
To anyone that didn't see episode 1, if you didn't, why not? I mean, come on. Episode 2. I'm Matt.
I'm Jess.
I'm Ali.
I'm Tommy.
You're the founder of WTF1. Don't forget. Everyone needs to know that.
Never forget.
Mr. Wow himself.
Mr.
This
Wow.
is
Wow.
Internet's Best
Oh my
Reactions. And
wow.
Jess, you want to be known as... Go on, what would you like to be known as? I'm putting you on the spot
That
right
is-
now.
What would I
Wow.
like to be known as?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Jess.
Not the token F1 girl.
Oh.
Okay, that's a
That
long
would
that's
be
a long
nice.
title. That's a long title.
Jess, also known as Not, the Token F1 Girl.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Which is probably going to become my nickname now.
Not the token F1 girl. I look forward to reading the comments.
Yeah, I know. I've literally opened myself up for a world of pain.
I think one of,
Yeah.
one of the first comments
You
on the
just-
last YouTube video was, why is there a girl on a podcast talking about cars? Firstly,
Wow.
it's not cars, it's motorsport.
Hawks. Don't.
But-
Jess triggered. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Jess probably
let's
knows
not
a
go
lot
there.
more than
Let's
a
talk
lot
about.
of people
Should we talk
watching.
about the race instead?
Yeah. Thanks, Tommy.
Oh,
Brings
yeah.
us greatly
Great
on to
segue. Great
Yeah,
Bahrain
segue.
Grand
let's
Prix.
avoid the.
Oh my wow.
So, Bahrain Grand Prix. 3-word race review. Give it to me, Tommy, right now.
Well done, Bahrain.
Fair enough.
I did not expect that.
It's
No.
good. It was good.
Tommy, was that a stolen catchphrase?
No,
Definitely
I
was.
don't know what you're talking about.
Daniel Ricciardo be sick in his mouth after hearing that.
Go on
Maybe
then.
he'd enjoy it. I
Do I
don't
need
know.
to elaborate
Maybe.
why, or are we just going straight to Ali? Or
Yeah, no, elaborate.
Do whatever you
elaborate?
want. Do what you want.
I think Bahrain is an underrated track. And
Is it really
I know
underrated?
It's people don't like the tilt drones, and
I
for
love
me
Bahrain.
it's. Huh?
I love Bahrain.
I do, and I love China as well. No, we won't talk too much about
China.
it. It's so
love
good,
China.
and the races are amazing, and it gets such a bad rep, but realistically, there's been some really good races at Bahrain. It was an awesome track, and it was such a good race, a lot better than Melbourne. We were very much those classic people that judged a whole season on one race in Melbourne and going, oh, we need to change
Yeah,
everything.
it's all over. It's
It's
done.
over.
Yeah.
Like Hamilton's won the title.
This was
it's over.
such a manic
Hamilton's
race.
won the title,
And-
no Vettel won the race, right?
Yeah, well, the party.
Weirdly
race.
enough.
We've been reading them.
Yeah, but yeah, good race. Good race.
Wow. Okay. Well done, Bahrain.
Well done, Bahrain.
Mine would be strategy, masterclass.
That's 3.
Yay.
No,
Masterclass is
Masterclass is
one
one word. Get out.
Whoa, did our editor just try and tell us masterclass is 2 words?
R.I.P. WTF1.com.
I think we need to go. Yeah, we need to go online and make sure things are written correctly.
Take the space out right now.
Yeah.
Well, the third one was yay, so we didn't really add much to it. But
Yeah.
Strategy
Yay.
masterclass, yay.
yay. Yeah.
Yay.
I'm yaying at the fact that there was
Yay,
strategy.
Bahrain.
Okay. There,
Yay strategy.
Because
Yeah.
there was, like, I feel like, and I said it in Internet's Best Reactions, strategy was finally like
thing.
a thing.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-stop race. It's not just a, there was so much going on that you didn't really know who was going to win until the last lap.
doesn't it? Really.
It was edge of your seat stuff, and I think it was good to see the people have to manage tyres. I mean, Bahrain's a tyre ripper-upper. That's the technical term.
Technical term.
We're really on it. With
Why is the girl on the podcast talking about
Ripper-upper.
F1? No, like Bahrain is super harsh on tyres, so it always provides that level of anticipation. But yeah, it was so good to see people have to really manage a 1-stop or 2-stop race, and it was literally 50-50 on what people were going to do,
Yeah.
and changed halfway through the
Well, Vettel
Grand
was on
Prix.
his tyres from lap 18, wasn't he?
Thank you very much, WEC fanboy. How do you know that? Have you done your research?
I have done my research.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched the highlights when I got in this morning.
It's amazing how much you know.
Also, I love the nonchalance of, was it lap 18?
Yeah. No, I've just been reading. I've just been reading for the last 4 hours.
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was watching it not too long ago.
That's impressive.
I think we talked about that in the last podcast, that 2012, such a good season where people had to manage their tyres a bit more, and Pirelli supposedly said they bought all these super soft, super mega, ultra soft tyre or whatever, and throwing that in there again. But we still had a one-stop race in Melbourne, whereas finally we got to see a bit of tyre management. It does make the racing exciting, even though people complained about it a bit. It still it makes it exciting.
I think one-stop races can be exciting if you've got other people on different strategies. So like if a one-stop is a possibility, but the majority or half the field's going to do 2 stops, then it makes it exciting to watch, because people do have to push that little bit longer on an old set of tyres when you've got people coming in with fresh. But then where are they going to, if they have to come in again, where are they going to position themselves?
Exactly.
So it's super exciting to watch as a fan.
And it doesn't feel like forced as well. So obviously in years gone by, they've been doing 3-4 stops, and they've just been a sitting duck.
Yeah,
whereas
it's less
Vettel,
hardcore than the 2012, like 1 lap and your tyres are destroyed and you have to cruise around at 5 seconds a lap slower. It wasn't.
Exactly. Like Vettel was slower, but he was not too slow that Bottas would have just steamed past. Bottas, what a bottle job! I'm not gonna get into that just yet. Oh God,
Let's
he's so
not
bad.
spend the podcast
so bad.
rinsing
I agree
Bottas
with you,
again.
Jess. I mean, I did agree with you anyway when you said about
saying.
it for Australia.
I got a
Grand
lot of
Prix.
shit in the last podcast for hating on Bottas, but
There's the Aston Martin going past.
Yes. Gone. Thanks. They're probably a WTF1 fan, actually.
Yeah.
They know that we're recording
the
right now.
podcast.
psych, we're actually at Yas Marina again.
Ta-da.
No, I think my 3-word summary was, that was F1. That was F1.
Oh, well, that's technical. I mean, F and then 1. And carry on, it's fine.
F1 is one word.
I'm just doing a Tommy, don't worry, carry on.
Just because, and it's kind of going on from your point, really. I think that race had everything. It had midfielders coming up and challenging top teams, DNFs, unfortunately, from, again, like top teams, like both Red Bulls out, which was again, it was heartbreaking. I feel like every Grand Prix has something heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking, but in a good way, because it split up the field so much.
100%.
So like the fact that a Sauber could get into the points, the fact that a Honda could finish just outside a podium finish.
Spoiler alert.
Madness.
Well,
I mean, if you haven't watched the race,
Spoiler
What
alert.
are you doing?
I'm going to watch this
Listening to this,
podcast
but not
first.
watching it. Sure.
trust me, there are people out there.
Yeah.
But no,
I've got
it
all the
was-
facts. Don't worry, it's fine.
He's got them all on a sheet.
What's your 3-word race review, Ali?
Yeah. What is yours?
I watched it.
Nice highlights, yes.
Sounded pretty hectic.
Sounded, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Thanks.
Hectic is 2 words.
Balaji_Kenway. This was one of the fans.
Yeah, we asked for yours on
3-word
Insta.
race reviews on Instagram. Such a dickhead.
A lot of people, we saw a lot of replies with such a dickhead. That was a lot of people's 3-word
And
reviews.
were they referring to, obviously this is referring to the Lewis Hamilton calling Verstappen a dickhead in the what's
Cool
the
down room.
Cool down
Cool
room.
down
Yeah.
room.
I was going to
Podium
call it the debriefing room, but that's not really what
They
it
weren't
is.
really talking, were they? It was amazing. It was so like just casually. You were just like, oh, they're not going to talk. Such a dickhead. Like I was like,
You
what?
always,
It just went from,
that cool down room, you always get to hear a little bit, and the commentators are talking
Yeah.
over it. I wish they'd just plant mics in there and just don't
Secret.
say anything.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times, like you had the cap gate was there, where they're throwing the cap, and
Didn't need
Webber,
microphones for that one though, did we?
No, but Webber's sworn many times, and
Yeah.
it's funny to hear him just chatting about it.
It was more like natural, isn't it? I think that's the same thing about when Kevin said "suck my balls." It's such a statement that you're not preparing to hear from an F1.
especially in a media pen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. But then also, I think that's why people always stick to that. Like the "suck my balls" and such a dickhead. It will always be something that will be remembered. Like when Hamilton said, "Is it because I'm black or something?"
Yeah, but
Because-
that's the other reason why they wouldn't want mics in there, because what happened was Lewis then got questioned on that statement
Because they can
Regulate.
regulate. Hello. The team radio, they can choose when, if someone's being like far too outrageous, they can choose what not to broadcast. But
And I'm in agreement completely with Vettel on that point, that, you know, you try being at that level of adrenaline for that many laps in a F1 car and not have something to say about someone who almost knocked you off and ended your Grand Prix. Like, that's...
He said to the journalist, like, if he punched the journalist in the face,
You would
is
say
the
that was
journalist
not
going to
very
go,
nice.
oh, thanks for that? Or is Seb going to go, oh, well, he's going to call him a dickhead or whatever?
that was the best. That was the best bit of it for me, because we got called out for posting that and people going, well, you reported on the dickhead thing. But it's like, yeah, because it was funny and it was news. And for me, I feel like that was a justifiable question for a journalist to ask, because at the end of the day, he needs to get a story out of it. So fair enough. What I liked wasn't the fact that Vettel was like, oh, it's a shit question. It was more the fact that Vettel was like justifying all the time this kind of like moaning, and you see it in all the races where Alonso in particular, say, for example, like, they're also hot-headed, and especially the best drivers, like Alonso, Hamilton, Vettel, they lose their shit, basically, when you're going 200 miles an hour racing wheel to wheel, and they'll be fighting each other, and you always hear a moan like, oh, he pushed me off the track, he did this. You know, Vettel told Charlie Whiting to f*** off. And then the second that adrenaline goes down, they're so chilled and they can be more rational about it.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like Vettel was saying, like, you punch someone in the face, you immediately have a reaction. You're not going to go, oh, that wasn't very nice.
There was the point that was made, I think it was Chris Medland, I saw on Twitter, said something about the fact that I think Vettel was, he said that he thought that Vettel was a bit misinformed as to when Hamilton said it, even though I'm pretty sure Vettel heard him in the cool down room say it.
You can see him like try and stifle a laugh in the video.
Yeah.
Like he looks around, he's like, oh God.
But, which I can understand in a sense, because, you know, if he'd come over the radio and said, what a dickhead, then fair enough. But like, it's because he'd had time to process what had happened. He'd come out the car. He had cooled down in a bit, and then he'd said it. So it was kind of like, it was a bit dodgier than if he'd said it in the car. That's what I'd say anyway.
Because, you're saying he's had X amount of laps to process it in his head, but I don't think you do. I don't think you can.
Oh, he's watching the replay for the first time as well.
I'm not a racing driver either.
And I guess he had no idea that it was going to be, you're going to be able to hear him.
Yeah, for me it was a bit unwarranted as well. Like the comment, Max wasn't that much of a dickhead, to be honest.
I think
he was a complete dickhead.
Yeah.
Like
I don't
there was, and I think
I wouldn't have gone that far. But
for audio listeners, Tommy just a very surprised face.
And again, like, I mean, I'm probably going to have a lot of people jump in and tell me that I'm completely wrong, but I think we had two, pretty much the exact same moves, right? One by Max on Hamilton, which almost caused both of them to Tommy's saving his response. Sorry.
I'm gonna let you finish.
almost caused two of them to end their Grand Prix early. And then you had Lewis, who on the same corner overtook 3 cars and everybody was fine. Now, we need racers like Max to make the moves that nobody else makes. I completely agree with that, and I think he's great for the sport. In that instance, he was wrong. He's been getting very hot-headed over the past few Grand Prix, and he has made mistakes. And
like Hamilton.
No, but justifiable. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think what I was going to go on to say was people forget that Lewis was exactly the same when he was at
and
Vettel,
and
Vettel.
Alonso.
Yeah.
All the best ones,
drivers,
all the best drivers made mistakes, but that does not mean that they weren't mistakes.
Go on.
I feel like I'm just trying to relate that incident to when Hamilton, for example, was it turn 1 at America when he pushed Rosberg all the way
Hamilton
off.
has done many, and even in Bahrain, he did that swipe move on Rosberg when they were having that battle.
Yeah. It's only because Rosberg turned even further out.
Verstappen was definitely in the wrong.
Yeah.
And the most annoying and frustrating thing to watch was the fact that he pretty much had the move done, and if he'd just taken his normal line, gone in, I don't think Lewis would have had anything to come to the inside, because then Lewis would have gone into Verstappen and it would have been
He would have had to
Hamilton's
back
fault,
out,
and he
yeah.
wouldn't. He'd have backed out because he's going for the title. But yeah, in terms of like Hamilton calling him a dickhead, like it's true he did a stupid thing, but like
But
we're
Lewis
saying,
has done that exact same
like
thing.
how many times did Hamilton crash into Massa in one season?
Yeah.
And he was just doing it repeatedly. There was a phase where Vettel, they were calling him the crash kid because he crashed into Webber, he crashed into Button, and it makes you think like all these really top drivers, they always get talked about in that way, and they have their moments of like madness.
But I was watching the onboard, and it doesn't look like he was trying to push him out to gain a position. It looked like he had simply was going too fast and understeered out of the corner, because he is kind of almost full lock, isn't it? And he doesn't open up too early. He is trying to get around that corner as tight as possible, but can't seem to make it. So it's almost as if he was going too fast and tried to lunge from too far back and couldn't slow the car down.
But again, like I think that again that comes down to inexperience, or not inexperience. I think that's unfair. Like he's clearly a very capable driver, but
He's trying too hard for the deficit of what.
Yeah, I
Red
mean, he
Bull
was
have
under
got.
pressure. He wasn't in the position he was meant to be in that weekend. He'd crashed out in Q1. He was just wanting to move through the pack, which he's very good at doing usually. Past few Grand Prix, he's just lost his head, and that's caused him to.
That's
to
him though.
lose out.
I don't think
in
he's lost
Australia,
his
though?
head though. I don't.
Yeah, he spun out. Remember, because he was
No, but
getting
he had
so
issues with the
frustrated.
car. I thought that was the reason he spun out, was because there was an issue with the Red
I think
Bull.
he ran wide, which caused his car to damage in
Right.
the first place. But in terms of like, I always found the same with Hamilton in his early career, that everyone said, okay, so like if you think to Verstappen, the race he won in Mexico, he chopped in front of Hamilton and Vettel at the start, and it paid off. It's like risk versus reward. When he does it right, he's the greatest, most exciting driver in the world, and everyone loves him. When he does it wrong, it's like Hamilton so many times did that in 2007 when he was a bit more like Max, where he was like lunging at people, and the second he made a mistake, everyone's on his case like, this guy's too dangerous, why is he doing this?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at from what I can remember in my head of the move, Hamilton did not give him any room whatsoever going up the inside. They were literally like Hamilton, as you said, is fighting for the championship. He could let Verstappen through at that point in the race. He'd probably get through on him at some point later on.
Why would he?
Well, I mean, when he's literally side by side like that, do you risk taking your wheel off or taking your front wing off for Verstappen taking
No, but
whatever
in
place
that
it was?
instance, if you're going into the corner first, then you have the right to the racing line. So why would you
But
yield
Verstappen's
that?
at the inside.
I mean,
Yeah, but also it's only the second race. Like, why would you think, oh, I'm fighting for the title? Like,
especially
he's
because
not
Lewis was having to
necessarily
fight
fighting for
back
the
from
title.
P9. Our set's falling apart.
Set falling apart. But he's not. It's too early in the season for him to think, oh, I can just win it back in a couple of races, because you have no idea what the next.
No, but I'm saying that he
18
would
odd
have got
races are gonna
him
do.
back in later in that Grand Prix.
But you say that, but he might not have.
He would have.
But you have no idea. You literally have no idea, because anything could have happened.
And that's great, because at the end of the race, Vettel and Bottas. Let's move on before this gets too heated. Another thing that was amazing to watch was the Vettel and Bottas fight towards the end of the race.
It's nice for a race to actually go to the finish. It's pretty rare in
was
F1.
just so-
It's not really an F1 thing. And if you look at the performance gaps between teams, and they build such different cars, it's amazing that a race can go down that close. It's a very rare thing in F1, but it's awesome when it happens because it's so unexpected. I think everyone was getting a bit like hot and sweaty and enjoying like how awesome it was when Bottas, like the gap was going down. And again, I think we mentioned it in the last podcast that sometimes it's not about the overtaking, it's just about the excitement of them pushing at each other.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
I think that happened in this race because the field was so mixed, though, because you had a lot of the big names further back fighting, and a lot of the names that are normally at the back towards the front fighting as well. So it broke the grid up so much that it allowed for so many overtakes, but also great strategy within the teams to give us an exciting race.
The strategy, it was weird because everyone just thought, how is Bottas nowhere near Vettel when he's on the longer lasting tyre and he pitted later, and then all of a sudden he was coming back at him, which was impressive. But yeah, I think Vettel was just absolutely awesome that race.
Oh, I mean,
I think he proved
Just
why
insane.
He was
he's
amazing.
as soon as he didn't pit, I was like, his tyres are going to blow up. Like, there's
I think
no way he
everyone-
can make it to the end of the race.
No one
And
thought he could.
I was just watching, like, in those final corners going, they're going to go. They're just going to blow out. Like, this is it. It's all
It must
over.
have been on the limit. It
Yeah.
really must have.
I would
'cause
love to see the Pirelli data back from those that
Vettel
set of tyres.
has always been good at that because he obviously won the 4 titles when the Pirellis were
just degrading.
Yeah,
degrading,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there was a race at Monaco where he was keeping Alonso and Button, I think it was,
Oh,
behind
yeah,
him,
when he was on
and
really
he was
old.
doing everything he needed to do, like parking it on the apex.
Was that when there was a red flag?
Yeah,
and then
and he got lucky
and then he got
'cause he
lucky and
changed
had
his tyres,
fresh
but-
tyres. Yeah.
I feel like for different reasons, I know everyone loves to compare Hamilton and Vettel, and like it's almost like you can't like both, but I do so. But the fact that
So
there.
Take that.
Yeah, but they both proved that why they're 4-time champion. Like
Yeah.
Vettel was absolutely epic.
and it also proved that why Valtteri Bottas isn't a champion so far.
I think that's
I
Nope.
can't believe, like literally on the last lap of the race, you're thinking he's in DRS. All he has to do is set up the move into turn 1 or just lunge up turn 1. Vettel's not going to turn into you at that stage.
I think
He
Danny
also-
Rick will be looking at that going, I fancy that
I would have
Mercedes
had
drive.
that 3
I
car
would
length-
have
yeah.
been 4 car lengths back and
Yeah.
got that move
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when he went for the heart. Like it's simple. I know that it's as sort of watching on the couch, it's
Yeah.
easy. Just shove
Yeah.
out the inside.
Why doesn't he do
But
it?
when you see all the other drivers perform moves like that, you know, like I think we saw it in the highlights before the race. You know, like Daniel Ricciardo going out the inside of Kimi Raikkonen at in
Monza.
Italy. Like that
Yeah.
is just a stunning move. And Valtteri has the tyre advantage. He knows he can brake later. Like, just shove out the inside. If you mess it up, fair enough. But it's the fact that he goes and he's like, oh no, actually, I'm not going to. Messes up his run through turn 2. So he has
Yeah.
no chance down towards turn 3. And he's screwed it at that point.
At least if you
Yeah.
try and go for the overtake, it could possibly slow Vettel down in through turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah,
So
it at least makes it interesting.
yeah, even if Vettel doesn't, because then Vettel wouldn't get the perfect run through, because then Bottas wouldn't be so far back because he messed his own run through. So if you're going to mess your own run through, you might as well mess up the other guy's run to.
The only thing I can
Ali's talking dirty tactics here
Yeah.
now.
He's like,
Yeah.
mess people up. Yeah,
run
yeah.
off
That's what they do
the
in
only
wet.
thing I
Yeah.
can think is that he went for that move, and if he'd taken Vettel out, it allowed Hamilton to win the race. There would be a massive shitstorm if he
Imagine that.
Imagine like
I would have liked that because Gasly would have been
people-
second.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would have been the best thing ever.
Oh
now
my
we can
wow.
fight.
It was a bit bittersweet though, the fact that obviously Vettel won, but then a certain mechanic in the same team got his leg
Yeah.
completely munched.
It's disgusting
I mean,
footage.
again, I think
Nasty.
I was doing the WTF1 prediction stories, and I didn't put Kimi in.
Good plug, by
on
the way. Get involved
yeah.
next time. Cheers.
Yep, that's a good one. Happens before every race. Look out for it on WTF1 official Instagram
At WTF1
stories.
official.
Okay, just killed it.
Thanks.
Carry on, sorry.
No, but I didn't put Kimi on the podium, and I think someone commented on it, going like, "You're really underestimating Kimi," and like, fair enough, that wasn't his.
You're
fault.
overestimating his luck.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's just something like I always feel something happens to Kimi, and
Poor Kimi.
sometimes it's his fault, sometimes it's not. But
Well, the fact that
it happened again.
even during the pit stop, I'm adamant that what they were doing there was using him as a guinea pig to
yeah,
see what Vettel's tyre
Oh,
situation was
yeah,
like. That's why
definitely.
there's the only reason they brought him in was
Well,
to
he
go.
was the car behind at
Yeah,
that stage,
exactly,
wasn't
like
he?
he-
So-
Yeah, so it's like we're gonna see if he can make up time. Should we pit Vettel or not? They were rolling the dice there. But classic Kimi luck that they put a gamble and then it screwed up.
but
yeah.
second Grand Prix in, and another.
And we had
Another
the
pit stop issue.
Yeah.
we had the chat about it in the last one.
We
and
must have seen it
all-
coming. That
Yeah,
was
we
good
knew
work.
it was coming. But all the fan questions again were like, do we get rid of this light system, which is clearly going go, even though a mechanic is standing in front of the tyre?
But I think, as we were discussing as well, the Lollipop man doesn't improve that situation because, one, there's human error, and two, what happens?
It does.
what,
It does
what
improve.
can-
Why doesn't
bit
it
of a frown
improve?
there,
But why
Tommy.
doesn't it improve?
Oh god!
How many
Sit
people
back.
broke their legs off because a
None.
lollipop man
Well,
didn't release the
there
car
have
properly?
been so many
It's many
instances.
refuel-
The
fueling
lights,
stuff,
though,
wasn't it?
the lights have
No,
done
no.
way more. Like,
The lights have done way. You know that as a
When my
fact.
issues.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Hashtag fact. That means it's true.
Fake news.
But I would be interested to see the stats on it, like where have more issues occurred.
The thing is, the again back to the Haas one, the Lollipop man is going to see the guy waving, going, no, I've not put the tyre.
Also,
Well-
wasn't it after every pit stop they used to put their hand above the wheel to say they were done,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
ready, and they had a luminous like green,
Yeah.
highlighted green.
Yeah. So
Well, I
then
guess it all
you can
comes
see
down to
Everyone
four
can
green.
see 4 green things.
Yeah.
It's literally, you see 4 things. You're like, okay, great, they're all there, done, lift it up.
It all
Fine.
comes down to the fact that they're too quick and there's so much pressure on the team to do
Yeah.
a 2-second pit stop. And this might be controversial, but I just find them boring. Like, once I know they can do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a mechanic break his leg. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
It doesn't add anything to the racing that they can do a pit stop
It's
in 2
horrible to
seconds.
see,
But I
isn't
think
Once you've
it?
seen
well,
it
is.
once,
No,
it's
it
like,
does.
okay.
It does add to
Does
the
it?
racing. Yeah, because it means they can get out the pits quicker.
Yeah, but in terms of the spectacle,
what's an
it's
added
not like,
second
oh,
gonna
wow,
do?
a 2-second pit stop. You just become bored of it.
We actually had someone.
I mean, it can be the difference between you getting out in front of the guy that you need to be in front of or not.
Yeah, I'm not
A
saying
second in F1
it
is
doesn't make it.
huge.
I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference. I'm saying it for a fan, it's not interesting.
But I argue that that's not why it's there. I mean, yes, there is some. Obviously, like they get to say, "Oh, yes, we've got."
Ali's
the
like,
fastest
in the
pit stop."
WC, there's a pit stop.
I mean, in WEC, but I mean, how long's a pit stop in WEC? Like 25
Well,
minutes.
they can
30
only have
minutes?
2 people working on a car
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
every individual part at the same time, so it makes it 40, 50 seconds or whatever.
But then you get the amazing thing like the Porsche mechanic.
yeah.
Where he's
adds
he's
it makes
lifting
it
a
more
tyre
interesting.
out and putting a tyre on at the same time, ready for someone to
Yeah.
come along with a gun. Just go zzz, like it's so.
That
it's
was really
awesome.
cool. And also,
Very
it
safe.
helps,
Oh, I
it
love
makes
work.
it better because
love
not
work.
everyone's doing the
Oh,
same
work
pit stop
friends.
time. So if there's more variation
Yeah.
in time of pit stop, it's more likely to make the racing more
We had
exciting.
one of our WTF1 fans, sorry Jess,
That's all right.
Andrew Webb at Nuneaton Fox said, do we need minimum pit stop times after the pit stop incident involving Kim? I'm assuming you're going to go with no.
No.
Because of the
I don't
spectacle.
think you need a minimum pit stop time at all. But
No.
bring back it's simple. Just bring back a Lollipop man.
I still don't think that would make.
I
a huge
think I
difference.
like seeing the Lollipop Man, like as growing up, like seeing
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah, but
feel like that's past the pit
not,
stop.
That's
That's
nostalgia.
nostalgia,
That's
yeah.
not.
Yeah, but I still like it. You know, just bring it in. You know,
All right.
see-
What else
see
do you
if-
like? What else should we bring in, Matty?
Refueling. Yeah, that was fun.
Fire, especially with Kimi
I
Räikkönen.
love fire. No, but I also see the argument for pit stop Lollipop men. I agree with you, Tommy, that I feel like it would be safer than the traffic light system. Very complex. I don't actually, because you were saying before the
The
podcast,
second,
the way
thing
in which it
goes in,
actually
yeah.
works.
Yeah, so the gun essentially sends a signal to the rest of the setup saying that a certain torque has been reached, i.e. the wheel nut is tightened.
Is that the
So
same for
once
every
it-
team?
No, I think teams run different setups.
Yeah.
Haas is
I
just.
could be wrong.
I think we've got 4 wheels on go.
It counts to 2 seconds. And then just the green light goes.
Did you hear on the Channel 4 coverage that they actually went, "Yay, Haas did a pit stop, okay"? And I was like, "That's a bit harsh."
So they,
Only
we were
happened
watching the
once
F2.
to both drivers.
We were watching the F2 and the Haas development driver, like, he came in the pits and like his car is like sponsored by Haas and they messed up his like
No
wheel.
way.
And it was just like,
I saw a
Wow.
few. I saw a few comments about the Ferrari pit stop saying, "Oh, nice of Ferrari to let the Haas interns in for a Ferrari pit stop," which I
the
thought was a little
the
bit
Haas and yeah, that's a bit harsh.
just like that. But yeah,
I thought you were
it's-
about to like do a Haas joke.
No, I was gonna say that
has to
there's
be
a,
terrible. That's what I thought you were going with.
that has to be the best joke I've heard all day.
Haas or Haas?
Haas.
That has to be the worst joke ever.
Right, can everyone please tell us if it's Haas or Haas? I think it's Haas.
Haas.
But
I'll go
we
with
did,
Haas.
Yeah. I thought it was Haas until I got rinsed, and I'm like, and now it's like scarred in my brain. It's definitely Haas. Jess now needs the same.
It's Dutch, so surely it's a
Is
longer.
it Dutch?
Yeah, Dutch origin. Obviously, it's
Oh, right,
American,
okay.
but it's Dutch origin.
Yeah.
Max
Hang on,
Verstappen
didn't
fan.
you tell us that
You
Haas
told
is
us in the
Dutch for
pilot.
hair?
Yeah, but I didn't know it was because Haas was Dutch. Right, go on.
I
carry on.
literally don't know what to do with this information right now.
Moving on.
Let's move on to another major fan question. Was about Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly.
Legend.
How were
Don't start with your French accents again.
You mean your pan-European?
mental
Russian, whatever it is. Anyway, yes. How were Toro Rosso so fast? I don't really understand.
I think the funniest part of that was even in qualifying when they said, yeah, Gasly, we're going to have to look at the data to find out why we were
They
so
had no
fast.
idea.
Martin Brundle said it was in all of his commentaries. Never heard an F1 team say, "Why were we so fast?"
We don't know why we were so fast.
It's funny though because we did the. If you listen to our pilot,
Wow.
really good by the way.
Don't listen to that.
Apart from the audio quality. We were talking about in testing, and obviously everyone was like, "Oh, McLaren dropped the ball here. Honda seem bulletproof and really good. McLaren are back to their problems." And then obviously Melbourne happened. Alonso got a really good result. The Honda blew up, and everyone was like, "Oh, haha, back to the old days." But Honda were absolutely bossing the speed traps.
Yeah.
And McLaren were a long way off, and people were saying that it's the high drag setup of the McLaren or the way they put the power unit
There's
in
always
is clearly
an excuse, isn't there?
there's clearly something. It clearly wasn't all just Honda power that made them 10 mile an hour slower
Well,
on the straights.
I saw for the first time as well on the grid walk, Zach Brown came out and actually admitted, they were like, yeah, we got something wrong with setup this time. So,
This
I
time,
mean, yeah,
not for 3 years.
I mean, the spin doctor extraordinaire, coming out and say, oh yeah, we've got something wrong with the setup. So,
They had an aero
Remains to
update,
be
Toro, but the fact that the power unit held out for the whole race, I think everyone was still a little bit like, his engine's going to go at any moment.
well, then
And when he was fourth, it was like, no,
Yeah.
please,
Please don't blow up.
please don't.
And he
and
didn't.
because of that, they're now third in the constructors.
And are they third in the constructors?
They're beating
Third-
Red Bull.
Yeah.
Gasly is the top Red Bull, joint with Ricciardo, which is crazy.
I saw a tweet of whether Helmut Marko is going to switch Max and Gasly.
Well, yeah, the only reason
how long
we're saying
before
that, the
they
only
swap
reason that
them?
Max is having a bad year is because Kvyat's not getting demoted every weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need
Actually,
to,
though.
yeah.
Where is Kvyat these
They're
days?
going to
He's,
ring up Ferrari,
Ferrari.
ask him to
Development,
drop him.
That's amazing. But you could see him in the garage properly going crazy. That I mean, obviously he's happy that the Toro Rosso team were doing well, but
I think
not very
Gasly's
happy
a
that Red
bit.
Bull were both out.
I don't think people really rated Gasly like people have done with
No, definitely not.
Verstappen, Vettel, Sainz, all the Toro Rosso juniors. And realistically, he's won he was the only Red Bull junior driver to win the GP2 title. I can't remember if he won it as a rookie. I can't remember, but he's clearly a really good driver. And within the second race,
Finishes fourth. It's crazy.
yeah,
Because
it's-
Hartley had a nightmare.
yeah.
Hartley is shit.
He
I'm
caused
sorry.
the Perez crash.
I'm sorry, Alistair. Weck. I know he comes from Weck, but I don't know how he's got another F1 seat. Is he bringing loads of cash money or what?
No, I mean,
What do you mean another? This is his first F1 seat.
No, but he's stuck.
yeah.
He's never had an F1.
Never.
He started
But
as a Red Bull junior team, but he never
he
got
had
to
a-
F1.
he
Well,
had a drive last
he did.
season.
He started
Yes,
in
but-
Kota last
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
season.
saying. Sorry, how did he retain his seat from last season to this season? That's what I'm saying.
Because he's a Le Mans world champion, a
Oh,
WEC world champion.
God.
The
So
thing
is
is,
Nico
like,
Hulkenberg, and he's never won a podium.
Yeah, that's
so.
because Nico Hulkenberg's
wrecked.
rubbish. But no, but then I
Demolished.
heard that Hartley had a bad time in either the qualifying or the
Both
race
races.
because the bird
Both.
Yep.
a bird smacked into his front ring.
In
Oh,
Q1.
bird smacked into my
In
front wing.
Q1.
Yeah, he doesn't really has the same front wing.
So
for the
did you
rest
see
of the
the did you see the penalty he got as well, Hartley,
No.
after the race? So
10 second.
yeah, so
Oh, yeah, so
Perez
it's the
got
passing,
a
wasn't it?
penalty for overtaking Hartley. I think it's this way around anyway. For overtaking Hartley under the warm-up lap, and then Hartley got a 10-second time penalty for not repassing him.
That's ridiculous.
No, I thought Hartley got the penalty for causing the incident that spun.
Yeah, but he
Perez
got
and
no.
put him
This
at
is
the back.
after the race.
So we got another 10
So
second penalty.
after the race,
Oh, I
they
didn't see
both
that.
got that was investigated. So Perez overtook Hartley on the warm-up lap and got a penalty for it, and Hartley didn't make any attempt to repass him, so he got a penalty as
I'm
well.
assuming they started in the right positions on the grid. They just.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's really
Imagine
weird.
that.
I wasn't actually paying attention to that, but weird.
It's a stupid rule, isn't it?
But back to Hartley, he is a weird choice because Red Bull went from having so many junior drivers that they were essentially like had nothing. Like Sainz is good enough for Red Bull.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
yeah, definitely.
But had nowhere to go. They went through stages where they had to get rid of people like Jean-Eric Vergne, who is a very capable driver and held his own against Ricciardo, and you think he's not even in F1 now. And Hartley is a really strange one because he hadn't driven a single seater for about 5 or 6 years before the practice session because you can't do testing anymore.
No, exactly.
Really weird.
It's a really weird select.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just proves how little people think of him when they can't even spell his name in
or
in
get
the
his
pits.
country's flag correct. I can't believe how many
did so
mistakes.
bad.
I can't believe how many
that was really
mistakes there have
funny.
been
So
around
it
Hartley.
was on the pit,
Who is
right?
it that's driving for
Yeah,
Hartley? Oh, okay.
It was
all right.
on the pit.
Oh yeah, I
was
know
on the
her.
pit lane.
Yeah, pit lane.
they missed out.
Gasly F1 driver.
Gasly put up a story about it because about Hartley, they'd written his name wrong on the thing.
They
How
missed
can
out an E.
How can they miss out a letter out of
A
driver's
WC
name.
champion's name.
Quite
Because-
easily.
Because
No one cares about WEC. Oh gosh, we both said no one cares. Okay. How funny was Pierre Gasly's team radio, by the way?
He loves his memes. Like he's
Was
always
that
liking our
actually
pictures and our memes and stuff.
Was that a coincidence, or do you think he actually was
No,
taking
he
the
knows.
piss?
He knows because
You reckon?
he is always on Instagram liking meme pages and stuff, and he likes a lot of our stuff. And yeah, he knew. He said that as a troll. Apparently, he's like absolutely nuts. That guy, from what
Really?
I've heard. Yeah, he's a right character. Let's get him on next podcast.
Get him on the show.
Yeah. After
Straight after the
Bahrain, fly him over to London.
China, you mean?
after China,
China.
maybe in
We
Baku.
raced
Bahrain.
Bahrain again. It was a great race.
Maybe
It was so good. We're doing it again.
bring it back again.
Every race, 20 races at Bahrain, F1, done.
Yeah,
I'd
why
be
not?
happy
Why
with
not?
that.
Yeah,
Although, I wouldn't be happy with that.
I'd be happy with that. Would you though?
No, I wouldn't be happy with that.
At
But
different times of the day.
I was thinking though, actually, I mean, this is slightly off topic, but I actually quite enjoy
The
when
same racing.
Lewis doesn't start on the front row.
Reverse grid to the win.
I mean,
sprint races for the win.
Yeah, they've talked about it, but to be fair, like you're always going to get not always going to get a bad race, but if you think of the best races ever, it's always when the good guys are at the back. So it's tough because they need to. You can't make it too ridiculous.
No.
But
it was amazing though, and I think again it shows, arguably, what a great racer Lewis is.
all right,
Wow.
I mean, no, can we talk about that overtake though? I mean, I know
we
we're
already
a bit,
have done.
No, I want to talk
it was
about it
good. Let's
again.
move on.
Well done. He had the
No, I'm gonna
RS.
gonna get so much hate for being a Lewis fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy girl thing.
Fan thing.
Fan thing. Lewis fan thing. That's now your tagline.
I'm going to be looking out for an overtake that surpasses that
It was
this
good.
season.
There will be
Oh,
something
yeah,
that surpasses it, but it looked amazing as well with the sparks,
Yeah.
and it just was like.
I'm not going to lie, that people thought it was a bit gimmicky, the fact that they'd put the aluminium stuff on the back
just
so they
looks awesome.
spark. I don't care. It just
It's
looks
awesome.
absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
And it does make it more exciting.
Also, commentary, wake the hell up. Like, I was literally just sat there. Lewis Hamilton's got slipstream on 3 of them. Fair enough, he's in the Mercedes, in the fastest car, whatever. He dives up the inside of 3 of them. Oh, that's a great move from Lewis. Sorry, I literally would have done that WWE flipping GIF thing and fallen off my chair if I was been in the commentary box.
not gonna
I
lie,
lost
it
it.
Were you
shows
watching
us-
Sky?
Yeah,
Oh, Channel 4 all over it.
Yeah.
well, Channel
But-
4 went to the ad
I
break
do agree.
during
I do agree though.
the
Sometimes
cool-down
like
room, so
the
it's
That's true,
commentary
actually, because I
does
didn't see the
make
cooldown room bit.
commentary does make F1 more
Oh, for
exciting.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they still use Murray Walker on the adverts.
Yeah.
Because he's
Like-
the best.
It
Which
says a
adverts?
lot. Like the Channel 4 adverts, they were using
Oh, I
Murray
don't watch
Walker
Channel
and
4,
stuff.
yeah. I probably should.
But do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen so many incidents where the commentators like seem disinterested, and it's like you're the one meant to be selling
Yeah,
this.
hello,
Like,
David Croft.
yeah.
That's the only thing you got. Okay. Sorry, David. Okay.
His
driver
son's
of the
gonna
day.
be watching this.
Give me, Tommy. Give it to me. Your driver of the day.
Vettel.
Go. Jeez, all right. Alistair, you watched every single
Gasly,
minute
shout out to
of the
Gasly,
race.
but Vettel was just incredible.
Alistair, you analysed every
Gasly
lap.
or Van Dorn?
What?
Van
Get in the
Dorn!
bin.
Why?
What were you watching?
We
What
do-
did he do?
The
He
highlights.
did really well.
Yeah, he
Did
did great
he?
in the
He
5-minute
went- yeah, he
highlights.
was from the back of the grid and got into the points.
Only because he was avoiding the mayhem happening everywhere else.
Oh,
I
mayhem.
didn't notice Van Dorn was even in the race.
No,
Yeah,
me neither.
who does he drive for again?
McLaren. Oh, that's why.
Not my favourite team.
All right, well, okay.
Has Van Dorn just become a WC driver or something that we don't know about?
He's doing it with
Le Mans-
Alonso
Le Mans
this year.
yeah.
Okay, so Alistair's opinion's invalid. Jess?
Jess says Lewis.
Joking.
Lewis.
You are a valid person.
No, I think Gasly had an absolute storm of a race. But shout out for Lewis's overtake.
Wow,
Right,
shout
so
out.
Gasly.
Not to Lewis, just his overtake.
Just his
Well, we
overtake.
all know he's...
He's amazing.
No, I'm not going to... You make me sound like I'm going to start gushing or something. Oh, wait, that's
No,
not...
it was
Right, quick, Matt, what's yours? What's your go today, Matt? Go, Matt.
We have our title.
gracious.
Matt,
Quick.
we have our thumbnail there.
I was good. My drive of the day was easily Gasly. Like, not a chance as anyone else.
Yeah,
Like, it was
Gasly
awesome.
was awesome, to be fair. Like, especially, there's so much pressure, and we always say that when a midfield team is doing well, they balls it up like Haas did last time.
Yeah.
So fair play to Toro Rosso for keeping their shit together.
Okay,
Just-
so finally, let's have some predictions, so we can go back on this next time and be
Podium,
like,
right?
you got it wrong.
How
you
long
got
have we
it
got
right.
left?
1 minute.
Oh,
One
one
minute
minute.
till
right,
podcast
that's why.
expires.
Wow.
Well,
we just turn off the
podium
cameras
for
and the
Yeah,
audio.
China.
even midway through the predictions.
Podium for China. So Hamilton's going to win because he always wins at China.
I was going to say Rosberg. No, carry on.
Rosberg. Rosberg. Ali's like, Van Dorn.
Alonso.
Okay, so Hamilton's going to win. Bottas is going to be second because Mercedes just own that track.
Mm-hmm.
And third will be Verstappen.
Of course.
The way you said that.
Verstappen.
Verstappen.
I'm going to go Hamilton to win as well. Ricardo second. And Vettel third.
Ricardo second.
Yeah.
So whichever. Yeah. Just.
Lewis.
Really? I'm so sorry, comments. I don't write them.
Lewis will win. Followed
And
by...
it doesn't matter about second or third.
Stop making me out to be... Right. Hamilton will win. Bottas and Vettel.
Okay,
Matt.
I'm going to go with...
Do something
But I
different.
would like to see Ricardo on the podium at some point.
Yeah, I think Hamilton will win. Vettel will be second. And... I want to go with something that's going to be more than just...
but the thing is,
I'm trying to think who would
yeah,
have a chance.
there's no one other than Ferrari or Red Bull that have the pace, really.
I think Ricardo will get third.
There you go.
Wow.
See.
Who did you go for second? Vettel.
Vettel.
Yes, Vettel second.
We basically went for the same but swapped
Yeah,
second and third.
yeah. I'm copying
Well
you,
observed.
Ali. You're my inspiration.
Thanks. Thanks.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Going to turn that over to
And listening.
oh, there you go. And listening. And anything else that you could possibly be doing? Watching,
Just listening and watching.
feeling the
Feeling
podcast.
the podcast.
It's been awesome. We'll see you next time in less than a week.
Yes!
Yay.
Chinese Grand Prix, my favourite track on the calendar. Cannot wait. And we'll see you then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Is China actually your favourite race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
I love
didn't
the
know
track.
that.
Apart
I
from-
love the
I
track.
love it as well.
I
Turkey.
love it.
Right.
Oh my god.
Not
Turkey's
Suzuka.
awesome.
Turkey, Istanbul is not
Suzuka's
your
alright.
favourite, and then because it's no longer in the calendar,
How,
China's
China
your favourite,
is
right?
so
China's
underrated,
amazing.
right?
China's an awesome racetrack.
You know when they do like the classic races and stuff, China is always like
Yeah.
really.
I think I have a really sort of
It's a
strong
good
emotion
F1
for
it's a
that
good F1
because
game track,
Schumi did the greatest win around there in 2006.
Okay,
Oh, his
stop.
last win, yeah.
Otherwise, we're
When
going to
he
keep
was-
talking about Schumi
yeah,
for the
when he
next
was-
6 hours.
Hey, I need to go and catch up on my WEC.
Um,
They've actually not started their season yet.
And you'll still watch it.